going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View and welcome to your Morning View show where we discuss the latest topics, the latest news, the latest goings on at Man United. Smash a like on the video. Hope everyone is doing good on this Thursday morning. If you're on your way to work, if you're at home getting the kids ready, or if you just got the day off and you're chilling or you're working from home, whatever it is, big up to you. Good morning to you. Let us know where you're watching from. Get involved with the channel. Get involved in the chat because we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about Marcus Rashford. Was a little bit on it yesterday, a little bit more coming out of it from the back end of yesterday after Erik ten Hag was asked about this. A new 5-year contract for Rashford. We're going to talk about that. Scholes praises Eriksen. Real, recognized real. Yeah, that's what it is. Real, recognized real. I want that.
There were some
Eriksen.
pretty wild takes. Me and Flex having a conversation last night, and there were some pretty wild takes, and we left it at leave it for the morning. Leave it for the morning show.
Owen was saying some absolute. He was saying some stuff.
Don't you dare try and throw me under the bus because you were agreeing with me. You were agreeing with me.
No, I was just agreeing with you to get your confidence up, see how far you would go.
No, look at him.
We're going to be talking about Ronaldo to start and Europa League predictions as well. And anything else in between because, you know, now the transfer window is shut. It's refreshing. We get to talk about other stuff that we just want to talk about. And we want you guys to get involved in doing so as well. Let's start off straight off the bat, Owen. New 5-year contract for Rashford. Is that good? Is that the right thing? Is that too early? Is it too late? What's going on?
To give a bit of context to it, so obviously, as Flex spoke about, it was asked in the press conference yesterday to Erik ten Hag saying that Marcus Rashford is out of contract at the end of the season. Do you have plans to hold discussions with him? And ten Hag said, definitely. And then they went, okay, that's the end of the press conference. Thank you for everyone joining. And this was then followed up by reports yesterday evening from The Sun and some other outlets saying that Manchester United are ready to open talk to Marcus Rashford over a new contract after his sparkling start to the season. It also continued saying United are eager to tie Rashford down to a new 5-year deal to erase any doubts about his future. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard conversations or discussion about Rashford having a new contract or discussions for a new contract or leveraging for a new contract, right? I remember last season after he was left out of the Manchester derby. At the time, there was, does Rashford want to leave? What's going on with Marcus Rashford? You know, he might want to, it might be all to get a new contract. And everyone at the time said he's playing rubbish. You know, there's so much time ahead of it. Doesn't deserve it at this point in time. And I think unanimously people kind of agreed on that one. Just a couple of weeks ago, right? PSG. It's having talks with PSG. What's going on with PSG? And then at the time,
we all said at the time as well, he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, everyone said he's not going anywhere. And look, if an offer comes in, consider it, right? And then it was largely sort of said at the time, actually, again, it might be leveraging to get a new contract. He's only got a year left. Now, after a good start to the start of the season, and he does have 1 year left, technically 2, because United have an option on it. There are now discussions about, 5-year deal and all this kind of stuff. For me, it hasn't really changed what we were saying yesterday, honestly, that it's still too soon, I think. He's had a good start to the season, but he had a really long period of time where he wasn't playing well. And 5-6 games does not erase that. If he can continue this form until the end of the season, you've already got that option year, which United will use, then open talks, And then if the player gives it, oh, wow, you should have opened talks earlier. I was playing so well. Then you go, wow, that's not the kind of attitude we really want, to be honest. So, and I think ultimately, let's be honest, whilst you could have talks about PSG or this, that, and the other, he'd want to stay at Man United. He's a Manchester guy coming through the club's academy. His ideal scenario is staying at Manchester United and getting a long-term contract. But got to earn it, right, Flex? Got to earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn it. I'm relaxed about this situation. The reason why I'm relaxed about the situation is, one, because of the manager. I don't think, we've seen already that you don't just get in for being a name. You don't just get in for the sake of getting in the team. Squad depth, squad competition now. If you think about it now, I'm much more relaxed that Rashford's got genuine competition. Rashford's got genuine, fight, fight in there where there's depth, where if he's not at the business, if Rashford went on an awful run and was doing what he was doing last season, we've got Anthony on the right now. You could put Sancho on the left when Martial gets back. He can go up front. There's a decision to be made when Martial gets back. Someone's got to miss out. Ronaldo's already missing out, even without Martial. When Martial gets back, I'm sure of it that Ten Hag still plans as having him until further notice, until we get another type of forward I still think he banks on him being his number one striker, which would put Rashford back to the left, which means what's going to happen between Jadon Sancho and Rashford, there's going to be a battle there for a position, I believe. I think that's where we're going to head to as the season goes on. Not so much right now, because one, Rashford's in good form, and two, Martial's injured, so it solves itself. But that's fine. And thirdly, I also think more players will come. You know, we know we wanted a forward. We know we wanted another type of striker. Ronaldo's only going to be here till at the earliest January and at the latest summer, because you'd imagine he'd probably move on after that, but surely maybe in January, who knows? And we're going to get another type of young striker again to go again. So there's more competition. So I think gone are the days where people are getting in just because of their names. I do agree that trying to give him a 5-year right now, again, I agree. That's like, I don't think his start to his season has been sparkling. I think it's been way better than last season already. Just in these few games, he's been at it. You can tell he's more confident. He's making more runs, and we're still saying he can do better. So that's a compliment. That's good. That's what we want, because we're basically saying that about the team. The team is basically what Marcus Rashford is. They're doing okay and getting the numbers and stuff, but we know we can do more. It's basically what the whole team is. Right now,
absolutely. And
also
as well with Rashford, like you said, the numbers, and we've said this so many times recently, that the numbers don't lie. We've got how many assists, 2 assists, 3 goals or whatever. But there has still been in the games we go, play a bit better, mate. You know what I mean? It's not that he's having perfect games. I think actually he's going to really benefit once Martial comes back, because whilst he might want to play up front, and whilst reportedly he said to Erik ten Hag, play me as a 9, I think Arsenal was a perfect example at the weekend. He is going to score way more goals from the left-hand side with someone that can hold the ball up, because when Martial plays,
100%.
He can hold the ball up. Even when Ronaldo was playing in that second half against Arsenal, and you would say his hold-up play is unbelievable, but just having an actual striker there
100%.
opens up so much more space for him on the left-hand side and gets him goals.
Yeah.
So if anything, he would want these players to come back, because he would get that 5-year contract probably a lot quicker, because if he is getting goals per game, you know, a couple of goals or 1 goal per game, you get that contract very quickly, because then things do change.
That's it. And I think this is more on the manager. Again, maybe a 5-year right now, I agree is too much too soon, but definitely just trigger the extension, you know, trigger that to give you some thinking time. I wouldn't like to see this deal all wrapped up and done like within the next month or so. I'd still like to see it, you know, get to January, and you know, or we get reports that the second year has been activated, and then we just kind of just don't hear about it after that. Just get back to working hard, get back to building. Let's get back to seeing where the squad's at as the time elapses, as Ten Hag grows into his role, as Ten Hag finds the best balance for us, and assess it then. But at the same time, and this is the bit that people probably don't want to hear, but I think it's important to talk about it, because he is our player. He's come through the academy, and this is not me giving him extra praise, because we've all been criticizing him last year because he was absolutely awful. But if you do want to get the best version of him, if you do want to get him going again, it does need to be a mixture of him earning it and the manager getting him going, and us showing like commitment to him to make him feel like, you know, there's a future here. We want you, or the manager really thinks highly of you, which he already knows from Erik ten Hag. I think we can see that when we was on tour. I think in the first Melbourne presser we did, Rashi was in there with Erik ten Hag, and you can tell from then and just on tour how much, you know, he was looking forward to this new manager. I think having a new manager has saved Rashford. I honestly do. I think if we didn't go through that transition where was going to be a new manager, it would have been over. I really do think it would have been over. And look, even the future of Man United, obviously we had to get a new manager because how bad we was. But I just think with it being Ten Hag as well, and Ten Hag being like, you can tell he's gone, nah, he's one of my guys. Like, I need Rashford. I know I can there's a player in there. I'm not having anyone tell me that he can't be an asset and in my system. Do you know what I mean? I got Dusan Tadic playing, balling out. I got Haller balling out. I got David Klassen balling out. What, you're going to give me Rashford? All right. That's how Ten Hag sees it. Do you know what I mean?
And by the way, completely off topic, but Ajax were really good last night as well.
And what a testament, what he set up to him, what he set up. But even just above that, their football club, because they sold record amounts of players. Let Anthony go late, you know, lost Timber. Who else did they lose? Haller. They lost the right back. They lost a lot of players. Alvarez, they had to keep on the last couple of days because Chelsea wanted him. And, you know, that is testament to They just go and find the right players. They held on to Brobby as well, put their foot down on that. And look at the football they played. Rangers is a tough game. I mean, they
Yeah,
dealt with them like
yeah.
they weren't even there. You
And
know,
it's not just the
brought in
Champions League that
Bergwijn,
they've
he's
put.
balling out.
Yeah, and it's not just the Champions League. They've won, I think, their first 5 or 6 games, and like no Ajax manager has done that before. And again, you could say, credit to the manager, credit to their players, but I think also you do credit Ten Hag and say, well, you set up something there, clearly,
Yeah,
even though they lost a
100%.
lot of it, they set up something.
But actually that comes from the whole structure that a manager can come in. He's going to buy into the Ajax way of doing things, and
Yeah.
Ajax are going to get a manager who suits what they do, and they're going to work together and be successful. Then when that manager leaves, even though they didn't want him to, it's only because Man United come calling. Otherwise, Ten Hag probably wouldn't have left unless someone else came knocking. When the new guy comes in, it's the same thing. It's the same process. So essentially, as long as the club, which they will because they've got an ethos and strategy, pick the right type of style of manager, they'll always be all right. Do you know what I mean? They'll always be all right.
Mm.
It's brilliant to see.
With Rashford, though,
Yeah.
two things.
Yeah.
What does he have to do you think, to be deserving of a 5-year contract? And
Yeah.
two, when do United pull the trigger on that? When do they actually go, okay, we'll hand it to you now? When's the right time, do you think?
Me personally, I would wait to see where the season's like definitely gonna go. Like, by like
Because, like you said,
March.
they'll trigger the
Do that.
extension.
Just do that now.
They'll
I don't
trigger that
mind that.
before they'll do it before January, so we can't speak to any other clubs. Because
Yeah,
you never know, PSG, right? You never
exactly.
they could come in. So
And if you don't show the right commitment, Rashford might think,
exactly,
"Oh, what's going on here? You're not showing
exactly.
me."
But do you go into next season still having just 1 year left on the deal, like you did with
Nah.
Lingard and Pogba and all of
No,
those
you
people?
don't do that. You don't do that. And people may again,
So that's
everyone
what
get
I mean.
involved in the
When's the
chat.
time?
Everyone get involved in the chat because everyone's got mixed feelings on Marcus Rashford. Some people are still saying, I can't forgive last year and stuff like that. I'm on the Ten Hag thing. I'm on what Ten Hag said in the presser. Don't ask me about things about last year. Like, we can keep going back to it because we know that that's in there. So in the back of my mind, I might do the whole thing of, I'm not saying we're back because look what happened last season. Yeah, right at the back of my mind. But at every opportunity, I ain't trying to look back. I'm trying to look forward and give this manager the support and attention that he deserves. Do you know what I mean? In taking this squad forward. We just won 4 out of 4. Do you know what I mean? From a bad start, and we're seeing the positive things that Ten Hag's doing. Why am I then going to just be negative and be like, oh, but remember Rashford couldn't even flipping control the ball last year, and I don't care. He's just scored 2 goals against Arsenal and got an assist. Like, what more do you want from him in that game? Okay, we want him to play a little bit better, but in terms of contribution to the game, is that the best contribution? Scored 2 goals and got an assist and won us the game. So I'm not going to be that fan. So it is in the back of my head because I'm not naive, but I think you don't go into next season with it on 1 year because you don't have the second year to trigger. You're just creating uncertainty. I think with Ten Hag building, with Ten Hag growing in confidence, and we'll have a better idea of where the squad is, especially after January as well, depending on league position, how we strengthen after the January window. I would wait till like March, April, like sort of towards the back end of the season where you can say, right, we're definitely in a top 4 race, or look at this, we're comfortably third, have been all season, or we're just outside the top 4 places, 5 points off. We've gone up and down, but relatively it's been okay. We've got cup competitions. And more importantly, because this is an individual basis, it's not really a team thing because it's about a contract. Have a look at how he's done in that time. If he's slowly kept going, or he's maintained a continuum that you think with this manager, you keep working with him, more players are going to come. He isn't just taking it for granted where he's starting every game, even though he's been crap. I don't mind giving him a contract. Would it be 5 years? I mean, look, Rashford's 24 and he's a huge asset to Man United. That's where the business side comes into it. We can say this is the problem. 5 years. What if he's shit next year? Then he's on big money and a long contract, and we can't get rid of him. I get
That's
it.
the risk you take
But
with everyone, though.
it's the risk. It's the risk you take with anything. We just bought Casemiro for 70 million. If he's shit all this year, everyone's going to say, "Look, we wasted 70 million." If he's amazing, everyone's going to say it's a bargain. Like it happened with Varane. He was a bargain, but everyone was saying, "Look, he's not fit, can't play. Doesn't matter. 4th choice centre back, and now look at him." So there's a risk with everything. So I'm not too bothered about that. And it could be 4 years with an extension, probably. I would imagine that would take him to 28 and then 29 with an extra year. That would take him to his last big contract of his career, where he can get another big one. If he said, I'm going to go Real Madrid, or I'm going to go PSG, or I'm going to get another big one at Man United, it would take him up to then, unless he left in that time. So, yeah, I mean, what would you do? Would you wait that around then, or it is difficult?
It's difficult because it's about timing. Right now, to open talks of him right now, it seems to me to be really premature. However, you would say Bruno Fernandes, his contract negotiation for Manchester United took a year. It took a full year. I mean, he was literally in talks from last summer, or the summer prior, sorry, till like, when did he sign his new deal? Was it in like April or something like that? It took like 9 months, nearly 12 months for him to figure out that deal. And that could be the case when it comes to Rashford. I agree that now, if it got announced tomorrow, Rashford signed a new 5-year contract, you go, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. I agree, triggering the extension before January to stop other clubs talking to him. You would say probably, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Maybe like May or June after.
So after this, so when the season's done, when we see, did we get
in the summer, sort of see after a positive season, the only thing you could say, and this is what United will be thinking, is that if, a big if, but if Rashford had a good season and he goes into the summer with 1 year left on his contract, phone calls are made. People pick up the phone and say,
100%.
You've got a year
we
left.
We need to avoid that. And then we're saying they haven't planned. Look at this.
Yeah. And if Rashford says to United, like, I want to go, PSG have made an offer, United have to sell. Otherwise they keep him for a season, let him go on a free. And we do what we did with Paul Pogba, where we go, he'll re-sign eventually, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Offer him a big thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, again, people don't always want to hear it, but because they think Rashford is undeserving of this because of what he's coming off the back of, which I get. You don't get to perform as bad as you did last season and 6 games into this season say, I want this, I want that. And I'm not suggesting that's happening. The reports are suggesting that Manchester United are set to start looking at what it looks like going forward. Like you said there, and these things take ages. This isn't going to be tomorrow they announce a new deal because they started talking about it yesterday. He loves the club. Signs a 5-year deal.
He slipped into it. He loves it.
He loves the club. New 5-year contract guaranteed. He loves the club. It's not going to happen. This is going to be drawn out, and Rashford's got to think about it too. Obviously, he's 24. He's approaching his prime. Into his mid/later 20s, but he's in that sweet spot.
You say he's got to think about it. What's best for Rashford at this point, do you think?
For Rashford, me personally, I think the best thing for him is to stay. Absolutely. He's got a manager there who believes in him. If he keeps playing like this, he'll get back in the England squad easy. He will. Him and Sancho, if they both keep playing well and doing well up to the World Cup. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there's a lot going on in that England squad. If Sancho and Rashford keep playing like this.
When you said that, I mean, you would say Rashford, in comparison, Rashford and Sancho, you'd say at the moment, after just a few games, of course, but you would say Rashford's over Sancho in that squad at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is.
And Sancho scored a couple as well, but he's slowly cooking, but he's made an improvement. Saka's flatlined a little bit, but obviously he'll be in there.
But there are still players you feel.
There's still
players you
Foden,
feel ahead.
Grealish is always just going to get in because City win all the time, even though Grealish has been bang average. But he'll just be in there off default, which is bullshit. But he will be there.
And there's quite a few players in that England squad, by the way, that are there by default.
Yeah, 100%. So actually, maybe both of them won't go. But anyway, that's a different discussion. We can talk about that nearer the time. But you said what's best for Rashford. Yeah, I think personally, again, everyone get involved in the chat. Let us know. Because some people may say, sell him, this, that, and the other. But I think it's best for him to stay. It's best for him to get his confidence back under Ten Hag, get his head down, block out what happened last year, and get back to being the Rashford that we know. Because let's not get it twisted. I think if you understand the Rashford that we know and understand the Rashford that is the Rashford, I don't think you'll get too bogged down with expectation. I've never had Rashford as like the Mbappe, when there was that thing where it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna,
Yeah,
I never ever had him as that
at that level where people go, he can be like Mbappe or he can be this generation. I've never looked at Marcus Rashford, and look, hopefully I am clipped on this. But I've never looked at Marcus Rashford and thought like generational, one of the top talents of his generation. I've never perceived him like that. I've looked at him as a good player that I think can do a lot better, and we've seen him do a lot better. But when you talk about Mbappe level.
No, of course
not. We're talking generation. We're talking talents of the generation.
Generational talent. That's him and Haaland and all that kind of thing. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that he can't have a great Manchester United career, and that doesn't mean that he can't be part of a Manchester United team that, with the right players in it, he has a role to play and can win big things. It doesn't mean that. Like, I wouldn't say we can never win a Premier League with Rashford in our team. I wouldn't say that. Depends who the manager is. Depends on all the other players. Depends on the setup. Do you know what I
Anyone
mean?
can have a good season.
Anyone
Why
can have a
not?
good season, and he's proved he can have good seasons. He's proved he can have some a horrible season. But I've always seen Rashford as a good player whose best attributes are his directness. When he doesn't have time to think about it, he gives defenders problems all game because he makes consistent runs. Or when he does make consistent runs, he gives them problems. When he slows it down and tries to think about things and get more technical, I think that's when you don't see the best of Rashford. When you see the best of him, is like literally the last couple of games shows us the best of Rashford. If you wanted to embody what he does, the Arsenal game is it.
See, I don't even know if I agree with that. I don't think we've seen the best of him
Well, not the
in
best,
our
but
recent.
okay,
We've
that's a
seen
bit strong.
games where he
But
scored goals and had assists, but I don't think we've seen complete performances from Rashford. I think at times in those games, myself personally, I've been really frustrated, especially with his hold-up play. And then once again, he moved out to the left in the second half. I thought that's where we saw what Rashford can be this season, where he can be dangerous on the break. I think look, let's face it, the only reason he's playing up front at the moment is because we've got a real lack of options as a striker in Erik ten Hag's mind, even though we've got Ronaldo in the squad. But in his mind, he's got a lack of options as that 9 he's looking for. That's the only reason Rashford's playing there. In an
yeah,
ideal world, it would
I
be
agree.
him and Sancho.
I agree with what you just said there. The best of Rashford was the wrong way to put it, definitely, because it isn't the best of Rashford. I meant like what you said there, the glimpse of him doing that, like seeing him be effective. The best way to see him be effective is to have him running in behind. Is to have him. You ain't got much time to think, mate. Take a touch and shoot. You ain't got much time to think, mate. Take a touch and pass it. Like, do that. That's what he's good at. He's not good at dropping short to link the play and providing assists by, I know he hit that long ball to Mason Greenwood that one time against Liverpool. Remember on the counter attack, that was a good ball. But usually,
but it's one ball.
That's what I'm saying. Usually,
like
he's not
years.
synonymous. Rashford's not synonymous with get the ball, get on the half turn, zing it into someone. Not his game. Not his game. So, yeah, to round up the Rashford thing, I just feel like, you know what? Not a problem. Not a problem if he's going to stay. I'm not in the camp of, but look at last year. He was rubbish. We should have sold him. Why is he still here? You support your players. I want him to come out of that. Back end of last season, I looked at Rashi and I was like, damn, I actually feel bad for him. I wanted to send him away early. Like it was that bad. It was that bad. He literally was void. Like he got space jammed. Like he literally couldn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like he couldn't control the ball. He didn't want the ball at feet. He couldn't get a run of games because he was so poor. He was in this rut. He was lashing out at the fans. You could tell it just all got to him. He'd never been in such a rut in his career. And it got from criticizing his performances to I don't want to see you go out like this. I want to see you get back to something that resembles you. This is a tough watch, this. You know what I mean? People could say that's English bias. People could say it's this, it's that. That's just how I feel. I want Martial to show the best Martial. I want Martial to show 2016 Martial. I want to see that. But
I mean, with Rashford last season, it was just like it got to the point for me where I thought I don't even know if he can get this back. I don't know. If it was like it was like that. It was like he looked almost like in pain, just moving around the pitch.
Yeah,
like physically, mentally, he just looked completely shot. And he was walking around in games. He didn't look. Every time he touched the ball, you could feel. Again, I talk about like when it comes to Maguire and other players, and even De Gea when he's on the ball passing out from the back. When the ball's at their feet and you can feel like the apprehension straight away. You can feel it of, oh, what are they going to do? Or here we go. You could feel exactly that last season with Rashford. And I did think, like, how does he get that back? And I don't even know if he's got it completely back, to be honest.
He hasn't, not yet.
Because you still do feel it a little bit when he gets this, when he touches the ball. You can tell he feels it. I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? I don't think he's playing with full confidence right now because you don't eradicate, 18, 12 months of poor performances in 6 games. You just don't. It takes the same amount of time to erase all of that, which goes back to the contract. So, like you, and it's not English bias, it's Manchester United bias, in that I want Manchester United players to play well. That's all I want.
Get a couple of comments out from you guys in the community. Tebza says, he's still only 24, far from finished. I trust Ten Hag to get the best out of him. Vincent Roman says, Rashford will stay, do extension, chat at the end of the season if it's a quality season. Midfielder, what do you think of Anguissa yesterday? Oh, he was good, man. That's the Napoli geezer, isn't it? He was good against Liverpool.
Napoli were very good. Liverpool were awful.
Awful. I mean, and Victor Osimhen, they're lucky he went off, and they got battered. But he's. I tell you what, Owen.
But
I know it's against shit Liverpool high line.
I'll lean in as well, Fleck, because I tell you what, his penalty was terrible.
Yeah.
I am so
we don't
sick.
need him to take
I am
penalties.
so sick and
Stop the
tired
run
of
up.
the staggered stop, start, walk up. It is just ridiculous.
Hang on. If he scores, mate, you're not saying that.
Yeah, I know, but just take the penalty, man. Just take 5 minutes before when they had the other penalty, he walks up, puts it in. This stop, start bullshit. Honestly, it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be allowed. First of all, I know technically they're still technically moving forward. That's how they get away with it. They shouldn't even be allowed to do it. From a keeper's perspective, what kind of gamesmanship is that? Take the penalty, man. Oh, it's just stupid, isn't it? And then when they miss, they go, oh yeah, because you staggered up to it. You trotted up to it like a horse, like doing dressage. Come on, take the penalty. Put it in the bottom corner.
How do you feel about the staggered run-ups, though?
I hate it.
Owen from the real goalkeepers union, bro.
It's not
Owen,
fair. I hate staggered from in goal because they wait for the keeper to dive and they go, oh, let's see, fooled you. He said, no, actually, you got to walk up properly. Yeah, because they go, oh, it's still technically, you know, the people that stagger like 3 times. They do it like 3 times. They go,
Remember back in the day before they changed the rule, it was mad. I saw on Premiership Years. I was watching it a couple of weeks ago. Can't remember what season it was. It was like mid 2000s or something, or late 2000s, one of them. And who was it? It must have been late 2000s because it was Ronaldo. And Ronaldo was taking a couple pens, and he was the start back then was ridiculous. They used to like literally sprint, stop, then go again. It used to.
But now they go, yeah, but they're still moving forward. But they're not. They're not moving forward. They're like barely, and it's just, you know, you see from the goalkeeper, stay on your line, don't move them, so they can be bouncing around all over the place. That's fair.
Okay, well, now we know how you really feel. Let us know in the comments how you feel about the Rashford 5-year extension. Get involved in that. Smash a like on the video if you can, peeps. We've got over 1,300 people watching, 200 likes. So, again, I'm pretty sure we can do a little better than that and get up to our target of 500, I'm sure. Christian Eriksen. Paul Scholes was praising Christian Eriksen. This is the chance to talk about Christian Eriksen. I like this part of the show.
Yeah, I like this part of the show as well because, well, we'll say why. So Paul Scholes has been talking about Christian Eriksen, some interesting quotes. He said, quote, well, forwards know when the ball's coming. They know they've got a midfield player who is thinking about them even before the ball comes. They know he's watching. He's looking all the time. He's always scanning the pitch and he's only thinking about going forward. I can't tell you how important that is as a number 10. He also talked about his qualities going forward. If you don't have that and you have the players that we've had playing in there who are always facing backwards and going backwards, their movement's a waste of time. So whatever movement they do, it doesn't matter. You see Bruno, who's so clever to get in those spaces behind the midfield and in front of the back four, but you need someone who can find him, and Christian Eriksen certainly has got that. For a number 10 to have any kind of influence on the football game, they need a midfield player of that kind of quality. So high praise from Paul Scholes to Christian Eriksen, basically saying, look, you can have people like Bruno in the team, but they're not very effective unless you have someone like a Christian Eriksen who can actually find them. And he's already looking for these players before the balls even come to him. He's already 2 or 3 steps ahead. He's always scanning. Now, this is when it gets really into it, Flex, because last night when we were talking about this on WhatsApp, I said something.
Yeah.
And you gave me eyes emojis afterwards. And I'd love to know what the chat thinks about this. I said, but there's been a lot of discussion that Christian Eriksen, we haven't had a player like Eriksen since Michael Carrick, right? That's fair.
Well, that's what I said in the chat. And then you went somewhere else.
I said, he's better than Carrick.
I mean, there's got to be context to this in terms of you're saying out of the career, like just the player, like
the
Christian
player,
Eriksen, the player.
Michael Carrick clearly has had a better career than Christian Eriksen. He's won more. He's done more. Christian Eriksen is better than Michael Carrick. And I love Carrick.
Is going, nah. Vincent is saying yes. Prime Carrick says Sly, ? That's a tough one, says Wobo. Controversial, says Georgia. Unpopular opinion, but I hear it, says Palomares. Eriksen is more talented, 100%, says Ed T. I agree, Owen, Steffi Jenks. Makish says sack him, Flex. McFred says yes, I agree with Owen. I think he's right. Yes. Love it. Yes. Facts. No. Carrick is a 6. Yes. Can't hate on that. I think let's get a poll. Josh, can we get a poll? But also we can see some people are saying sin bin. No way, but the margin is close. Maybe from the chat, which I'm seeing, there's more saying they agree with you, but there are quite a few people that are saying no chance.
I think he is a more
Complete
He can
player.
do more. He can do more than Michael Carrick. I think Michael Carrick, in what he offered Manchester United as, I mean, in his later careers, a 6. When he first came to United, he was, your standard central midfielder, really, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Passer. Clearly, he was meant to be the replacement for Scholes, right? But I feel like Eriksen can do more. I feel like his range of passing is better than Carrick's just about. And obviously, Eriksen can be a 10, a 6, an 8. I think he's more effective for United in recent weeks as a 6. He's clearly playing that Frankie de Jong role. I just feel like he's got that more penetrative pass than maybe Carrick didn't have.
Let me say
What
this.
do you think? What do you think?
In
What did you say?
Eriksen's,
What did you say to me last night as well? Actually,
I said, "Oh, that's a big take." And
and
I
then
did kind of
what did
agree.
you
Yeah,
say?
I did kind of agree.
Kind of. You said I agree.
I said I kind of agree.
He didn't put kind of. He said agree.
Well, I put kind of, but the typo made it not go up.
There we go. See, this is the real flex.
No, when you deep it, look, I think it's first of all, it's a testament to both players that we're saying, like, we needed someone like this to facilitate the play. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you look at Eriksen in his prime, he was the best player in his position at that time. When he was like cooking at Spurs prime Pochettino, he was the best attacking midfielder in the league at that point. He was like leading with assists and stuff like that. When Spurs were still at White Hart Lane under Poch, and they had them 3 years, what was it like, getting in the Champions League every year, finished second 1 year, didn't they?
Should have really won the league.
Should have really won the league. Nobody wanted to go to Spurs and play them. They were pressing, they were strong. You had Wanyama and Dembele, and then you had Eriksen just ahead of that. He was boss. And he even took it a little bit into the new stadium before he wanted to leave. Well, that season they played at Wembley. He was still good then when the new stadium was being built. So in his prime, you could argue that he's been one of the best players in his position at some point because he's that good. Carrick, like you said, different type of player, deeper lying player, at 6, progressive passer. So it is a bit tougher to compare them because in Eriksen's prime, he was a creative midfielder. He wasn't a facilitator. He was the number 10, sliding through the likes of Kane, Son, Dele Alli as well. He's played up with him. But Eriksen's just that good. He can play in a 6. He's more adaptable than Carrick because he can play a variety of positions. And across their career, they've both been top. But Carrick,
I just put the poll in the chat, by the way. I put the poll in. It's tight.
It's close. It's 54% Eriksen, 46% Carrick. It's very, very tight. But away from that, because we don't need to, put Carrick down or anything like that. It was just like But let's just talk about how good Eriksen is because, Scholes is talking about it. And I joked at the beginning of the show saying real recognize real. But it's true. The thing is about Eriksen, that is weird, is that he's doing things that good midfielders should be able to do. Like if you can play in the Premier League at a decent level, you should be able to see a pass and pass forward. That's not rocket science. That's not easy. I mean, that's not difficult, but it seems difficult and it has been difficult because so many bang average midfielders in this modern day game are average. They don't pass between the lines. It's only the ones that stand out, like De Bruyne, like Eriksen, like who else is good at that? Rodri.
Because it's kind of evolved, hasn't it? Because now, over the last few years, particularly in the Premier League, especially with like the gegenpress sort of style of play, a midfield player has become, what's your work rate like? What's your energy like? Box to box, can you win the ball? That kind of, like you said, forward passing, can pick out really difficult passes, sort of a bit of creative flair.
Basics.
I would say it's been lost, but you don't see as many of them nowadays because it feels like the position, it's funny with tactics and what becomes in vogue and what becomes popular, but it's 50-50 in the chat as well now. It is tight.
It is close. It is close.
It is close. It feels like maybe the midfield position had kind of changed, and maybe those people like Eriksen, like a Carrick, like a De Bruyne, are almost like gold dust now. They're difficult to find, which I think really well.
Which I think is damning on just the game, like the fact that when you get someone who can pass properly, control it properly with both feet, pass with both feet, pass forward between lines, not necessarily really acute passes where it might not get through the gap. We're talking like that pass he plays to Bruno here when he gets it off Malacia is a massive gap. It's not hard, but he makes it look easy, and it is easy to him because He's just a good, competent player who understands the game and understands how to play that position properly. If you're a professional footballer playing centre mid, you should be able to control it with your right foot and control it with your left foot equally. You should be able to fizz it in, short pass, long pass, left foot, right foot. You should be able to scan the pitch before you get it, have a little look on the half turn. Is there someone behind me? Have I got time to take a touch? Have I got time to turn? You should be able to make them quick decisions playing centre midfield for Manchester United. Not even just Manchester United, in the Premier League. All right, cool. You might be a player who's just come up from the Championship. I get that. But if you're year in, year out playing in the Prem, you should be able to do them things. And it's like Eriksen looks amazing, which I give him plaudits for because I love him. I think he's brilliant. Even before, I remember saying on here before on the channel, even when he was made available on a free, before it was even linked, I said, we have to get him. And I remember that show. KG was like, Eriksen, are you mad? Pacemaker. Can't put that kind of pressure on him. We can't have him. And
I said it yesterday. He said pacemaker. And
it's silly. It's not that.
It's not a pacemaker.
Yeah.
It's not. It's defibrillator.
Exactly. And even that, like, you could see what he done at Brentford. Levels, like, hasn't lost it. If that was the trial period you needed to see how he was after that horrific incident, that showed you everything at Brentford. He went there and bossed the midfield against big teams. His best performances were away from home for Brentford. He was fantastic.
Stamford Bridge. Brilliant. They went there. He was excellent. Brilliant.
He was pulling strings. So the thing is with Eriksen, he is a thing of beauty because not many players are like it anymore. But if you flip it, it's a sad day that, you know, there are players like that who can't do that. Like we're celebrating. Oh, he can pass forward. It's fucking centre midfield, mate. Tell Roy Keane, what, you're a centre midfielder and you can't pass the ball forward.
That's what I mean. It's because the positions change. It's because for maybe the last decade, maybe it's become less about that, which is wild to say you or I, because certainly speaking for myself growing up, like you said, midfielders were always about passing forward, you know, yes, winning the ball, but if anything, it was about progressing the play. And it's almost not so much about that. Those sort of players that we do associate with being good forward passers have moved into number 10 roles as opposed to, you know, deep lying roles or number 8s or something like that. So to see someone like an Eriksen have the ability to do it, it's brilliant because we haven't had it in such a long period of time. And not just that, you mentioned about doing it consistently at the Premier League, but in the game, say against someone like Arsenal, he's done it against a top team where the spaces are even more reduced. They should be anyway, not for a couple of those because exactly. Arsenal are wide open. But the point being is that he does it in big games as well. Yeah. So
and more importantly,
it's just shrewd business. It's great business. It's Man United's best signing of the summer, player-wise.
He's free. He cost us nothing. I added wages. He always cost something. He's going to cost X amount of million in wages, whatever. He was free, though. At a time when we was trying to get... And remember I was saying he could do the Frankie de Jong role. I think it was on a show with you and on a few others. I was like...
Well, I assumed that's why he had come in to be a deep-lying playmaker. Because, again, I thought at this... Because, you know, people saying, oh, he's going to be a 10 and all that kind of stuff. I thought... We got one.
Nah, 100%. And I knew as well, you know, when people were like, yeah, because when Bruno gets tired, he can come on. I'm going, no. If Eriksen comes here, because we didn't know if he was going to come at the time, I said, if he comes, he plays all the time. Because we don't have a player.
Yeah, that was the thing. Oh, yeah, he's going to be a bench player.
No, Eriksen, are you dumb? Like, a bench player. It's not a chance. In our midfield as well, that needs a whole... Because he's better than Bruno on the ball. Like, don't let it, like, Bruno's amazing... you know, through balls, cloud what's going on really in the midfield. The whole reason the midfield has changed is because of Christian Eriksen. He's actually allowing Bruno to play better. And Ten Hag's allowing Bruno to play better because they're saying, you know what, Bruno, when we don't have the ball, fair enough, don't go running around like a madman and go press by yourself. That's not what we do anymore. So get back in here and sit tight. But when we do have the ball, you can be the furthest forward. Go and get the space in between the lines. Go and play just off the striker. Go and do what you do best. And Eriksen will find you on the half turn. You just focus on your movement and drifting into spaces where Eriksen can find you. And that was a perfect example against Arsenal, that game. It allowed, you know, that you got someone like Eriksen who's going to come deep to pick up the ball, find an angle. All you need to do is Bruno, which he is good at, to be fair, is finding space and getting into pockets. His biggest criticism that we get with Bruno is that he's wasteful, not that he doesn't get into good positions. He's actually very intelligent, the way he moves about the pitch, how he goes and gets the ball, when he goes and gets the ball. I don't mind that from Bruno at all. But now we're getting him on the ball where we want him on the ball, where if he gives it away, it's not from deep, it's not from him dropping off the front, to where Eriksen played that pass to Bruno, you know, like just off Malacia inside his own half. How many times have we seen Bruno get bored, come and do that and get that and hit a long 40-yard switch to try and get it to Sancho, or a ball over the top. Just a stupid ball. How many times have we seen
that's
that?
not where. And if anything, like I said, with that move, that's where you want Bruno to be. You don't want Bruno to be the one making the pass. You want him to be the one receiving the pass. Further up the pitch. You don't want him to be inside his own half at that point of transition. You want him to be way higher.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Scholes is talking about. Is that you have those creative and clever players like Bruno, but you don't want them that deep. You want them way higher up the pitch. You need that person that can actually pick them out. And what I will say about Eriksen as well, I said it on the sort of reaction show after the game the other day, is that those people, and you saw it as well, those people that were like, oh, good for you. You bought someone that's got a defibrillator in his chest. Oh, well done. Well done. Look at you. Look at you. And honestly, I was thinking about it. At the time, I thought, how dare you? And now I think, how dare you? Because how dare you judge someone on one of the lowest and worst points of their life? How dare you judge them on that? Why don't you judge them on what they did when they went to Brentford? Why don't you judge them on their comeback? Let alone what they're doing now.
Judge it on the fact that he did die on the pitch and come back and play Premier League and bossing it.
His legacy, Christian Eriksen's legacy shouldn't be what happened to him on that pitch. The legacy should be the comeback and what he's doing right now. That happened just over a year ago. He's getting back-to-back man of the matches for Manchester United in the Premier League at Old Trafford. Like, seriously, that's the legacy. The legacy isn't what happened to him then. And again, those people that say, that's why you can't listen to everything, can you? Because it's nonsense.
Nah, you can't. It's facts. Abab says, Flex is just in love with Eriksen. Yes, I am. Take it easy, guys. It's just 6 games. I get the little bit of skepticism there, Abab. That whole thing that is in us as Manchester United fans, which is, it's only early, etc., etc. I am confident that even if we go on, because I'm buying into the player and what he's always been, which I've seen when he was at Tottenham, before that, when he was in Holland, when he's been at Inter Milan, which is what Eriksen's been his whole career. I know the type of footballer he is. So even if Man United, I'm not saying we're going to win every game because Eriksen's playing. I'm just saying, even when we're not playing very well, Eriksen will still withhold a standard of performance that he won't go below. He will still be playing good passes. He will still be, intelligent and good on the ball. Of course, he might make a mistake or give the ball away. Who doesn't? And Scholes never did. There's this misconception that, obviously, Scholes is the GOAT. But he gave away passes. He got tackled.
Paul Scholes.
He couldn't tackle. He'd lose the ball and in transition have to yank someone down. Of course.
Yeah, talk about his evolution as a football player as well. People like to remember the Paul Scholes maybe towards the end of his career of this guy could spray ball around and all this kind of stuff. But he was a box-to-box attacking midfielder for a lot of the time earlier on in his career.
He's up and down.
Yeah.
This is only because, again, when you're that level of player, the youngsters, as you get older, can't even get near you. Just start using your brain. I'd drop off, mate.
Yeah.
Little pockets. Zing. Did it in a Legends match, even still now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Abab, I do love Eriksen. I want to get Eriksen on the show. I honestly love Eriksen. I do. He's my favourite player. I haven't had a favourite player for ages, but now it's Eriksen. I can say it.
I thought it was Varane.
Oh, it's still, I don't need to say that. That's and Alanga's my son. Alanga will always be my son.
Dropping people already,
No more Player FC, Owen. This is the problem with the fan base.
Yeah, no more Player FC.
Fan base. Yeah, no, it's true. Actually, man, I should calm down a bit because we don't want Player FC. Because then I don't want people to think that I won't criticize Eriksen if he plays shit. Because I'm not like that. I will. And even Varane, I was giving it to Varane, wasn't I? I was saying it.
Yeah.
Listen, when I was like, listen,
through gritted teeth.
Oh, of course, of course. But you laughed at me because look now. They all said he couldn't do it. They all said he can't play games. You laughed at me. Let's quickly race through the last couple. Ronaldo to start in Europa League predictions.
Yes, so Ronaldo to start. I think the assumption is that Cristiano Ronaldo is going to start. He should. But what I wanted to talk about is, should he start tonight and he score goals?
Yes.
What does that mean?
I thought you meant should he start?
No. Should he start and score goals this evening? What does that mean for the weekend? Is this the catalyst for Cristiano Ronaldo starting more games for Manchester United, do you think?
I think no.
So if he scores 2 goals tonight, doesn't play at the weekend?
I still don't think he does, no. I still don't think he does. With Ten Hag, you never know. Ten Hag might be waiting to get him in his groove and then integrate him. But from what I see from Ten Hag and the decisions he's made, I think he just wants that mobility and likes the fact that he can bring Ronaldo on. And it's been working in the league. I think he won't want to change that winning side unless he's forced to. So I think I know we're skipping a game here and we're talking about Ronaldo to start this game, but in reference to your question, I think the front three against Palace is still Rashford, Sancho, and Anthony. I really do. I do. Do you? What do you think? You think if he gets a couple of goals, he goes right? He's ready. He's firing. He's got his first. You think Ten Hag's waiting for Ronaldo to score to play him?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Can't be that.
It will be a discussion point. I mean, and I guess goals aren't just everything. It will be depending on how he plays as well. Or if he scores 2 tap-ins, you go, well, okay.
I think he'll play all right though. I think he'll.
But if he plays, you know, Ronaldo, and he's pressed a little bit, and I don't even know. Do you think he plays 90 minutes tonight?
Don't see why not. I don't see another. Why? I know it's about, again, there's 5 subs. So if Rashford has to play,
if you're talking pressing from the front, can he do it for 90?
Yeah, I think he can. He can, not in the way that Ten Hag would like, maybe with the same intensity as consistently. But look, there's more than one way to win a football match. And I think when Ten Hag changes up the team, I think we're going to see that we need to win in a different way, because I'm not so sure the team plays in exactly the same way. That's why I'm really excited about tonight, because 1, obviously, I want us to win the game. But 2, I really want to see what changes he makes. Because remember, I was saying, I don't know if he makes as much as we think he might. And, you know, when I think about it, these players are fitter than we think, man. Like if you're a player, even if I think back to when I used to play, obviously I was nowhere near a level. I was like a couple of leagues below semi-pro, played all right level. But when we used to have that, we used to have like a Tuesday night, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and a game every few days. And, you know, it used to just get you in your groove. You know, it was all right. You can do it. You can do it. I know everyone says the intensity of the league, Premier League and stuff like that. These guys are highly tuned, man. Yes, the odd player might need a rest here or there, but you can't keep making 11 changes per game, because every game is 3 days, 3 days, 3 days.
No, I agree with you on that.
Some people got to play. So, and a large chunk of you can't keep changing the team by 50% every single time or more. You can only make like 1 or 2 changes to freshen it up. And that's what the best teams do. You know, when we were competing on all the fronts, you still had the core team. Yes, the players coming in with quality, which is what you got to build up. But that core of, like, whether it was Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney.
Oh,
Are you there?
He's back. You're back. You literally did. You're back. Yeah, you literally just froze.
Oh, that's mad. That's never happened before. It wasn't just me on my screen. My whole thing just went black.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. I don't know what it is, but yeah. But you went Ronaldo, Rooney.
Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez. You know, those guys were starting every game. You know, Berbatov would then come in or whatever. You know,
it was Mr. Phelan. Mr. Phelan did it because the likes aren't liking. That's why.
Right, there you go. I think. But yeah, cut a long story short, you know, players can play, and you know, Rio and Vidic would play all the time. They wouldn't go, I'll tell you what, we had Champions League Wednesday night, got a game on Saturday, better rest Rio. No, plays, mate. no. Evra. Evra's been bombing on up and down. We've got Bolton at home on the weekend.
But that was Champions League, though, isn't it? That wasn't Europa League for a competition that you would rotate.
But at this stage of Man United's progression,
and we played some lighter teams in the Champions League before. We've rotated some teams.
Yeah, I'm not saying we never rotated, but by and large, the best players play. Do you know what I mean? Unless they, you know, odd man needs a rest here and there. But I'm just saying this misconception that, like, because the games are every 3 days, it means he has to make wholesale changes. I'll tell you what, it won't be many games if you keep making wholesale changes all the time.
No, I agree with you with that, but I would also say he does need to rotate for tonight, because
absolutely does.
He's been playing in the Premier League. He's played the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row,
Agreed.
Which have had midweek games, and we do need to see what some of these other players are capable of.
Where's Donny? Where's Donny, bro?
He's injured.
Is he actually injured?
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
Right, okay, he's ingered. Oh, I didn't know that.
He's injured.
You know, when it's like the injury hasn't been spoken about. I didn't even know he's injured. When?
I feel bad for him, because, you know, he clearly is not going to play in the Premier League. Even having your guy as the manager, you would have thought you'd get an opportunity. He hasn't. Ten Hag came to the same conclusion that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralf Rangnick has. I don't know what that conclusion is, but it's certainly not starting him. And the one game that he would probably start and play, he's not available for. And that's poor luck.
Yeah. There you go. And just to finish off your prediction for tonight, I mean, we kind of did it a bit yesterday.
Well, I wanted to talk more in general about this prediction, not more.
Right, okay, yeah.
How far can we go? How far are we going to go?
We can go all the way.
How far are we going to go?
We're going to go all the way. We're going to go all the way.
You think we're going to win Europa League?
We're going to get to the final.
You're going to go on the record to say we're going to win Europa League.
No, I'm going to go on record saying we're going to get to the final.
What, are we going to lose the final?
Don't know.
Because if you're not going to commit to us winning but getting to the final,
you said where we're going to get to. I said we'll get to the final.
Then I said, do you think we're going to win it?
Yeah, if we get to the final, we'll win it.
You don't seem sure.
If we get to the final, we'll win it. And I said we'll get to the final. So that means we're going to win Europa League.
I think it depends a lot on where we are in the league. You know?
Yeah.
I think also it depends a lot on who comes into the competition. There are some tough Champions League groups out there. So there are going to be some big teams dropping in. But you would also say, look, why should you be afraid of these Champions League teams? You know, if we're playing well, which we are at the moment, why can't we beat them?
Yeah.
Why can't we go on and win it?
And usually the teams that come down aren't, I mean, sometimes there's one really good team. If there's a catastrophe, they don't get out of the group. But usually they're like...
There's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason. I mean, it could be like, I don't know, like a Sporting, like a RB Leipzig might not get through. You'd think Napoli and Liverpool will get through.
RB Leipzig
might be like an Ajax. No, not
Leipzig
Ajax,
are struggling at the moment. They just got
they are. They got spanked by Shakhtar Donetsk, actually, didn't they?
Yeah, got a new manager.
It could be like, imagine it's a Chelsea. No, they won't get
What about Liverpool?
Nah, Liverpool will get out. Who else? Oh, actually, it's a quite tough group, is it? They've got Benfica in that group as well.
Is that the one with Ajax in it? Let me check.
Oh, yeah, it is. No, it is, yeah. It is, because I remember saying to We Talk Ajax, yeah, because I said to AGT at COP TV, I put them in contact with We Talk Ajax, so they're going to do some stuff. I said, listen, you need to... That's excellent. Ajax, Rangers,
Napoli.
I tell you what, and I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you this now. Liverpool going to Ibrox and Liverpool going to the Amsterdam Arena, the Johan Cruyff Arena. I tell you what, I don't fancy them. That could be 3 L's just off the bat. Are they going to get 3 W's at home against them 3?
Maybe, but it might not be enough.
Yeah. Because I think they definitely lose one more away game against Ajax or Rangers. They lose at least one.
They drop more points, definitely. 100%.
Or they might draw both.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine Liverpool dropping to Europa League.
They're saying as well, Ed T says Bayern, Barca, Inter in a group.
Oh, so one of them are dropping. So you'd say Inter, because Inter just lost to Bayern as well. You'd say Inter are going to drop out. Inter are good, yeah. So if they drop in, that makes it tight. Well, one of that group, that's already a good team in Europa League.
But and even
they ain't finish last.
Even in Liverpool's group, we're talking about Liverpool, but say it isn't Liverpool, then either it's Napoli or Ajax.
Ajax or Rangers. Well, you'd say Rangers probably finish last, but
probably, I don't think Rangers get it. But still,
so either Ajax, Liverpool,
or
Napoli are going to be in Europa League. That's already so that's tough. Then there's Inter Milan. So there's already 2 there.
City, Dortmund, and Sevilla too.
I mean, we do shit against Sevilla, even though they were rubbish the other day, but we always do shit against them.
So the point being is that
it's
easy
tough.
now. It's easy now to look at it and go, who's the other good teams in it? Oh, Arsenal and Roma. You know,
I'm gonna wait to the quarterfinals. I'm already backtracking.
Backtracked a little bit. Yeah. We're gonna win it. We're gonna get to the final. I'll wait till the quarters.
Yeah, because when you actually deep the teams that can drop down, it can be peak. But you know what?
Can change.
Yeah, exactly. If we're playing well, then you know what I mean. You've got to want that smoke.
Also, by the way, not about United at all, but I've just seen that Graham Potter's verbally agreed to become the Chelsea head coach.
Just quickly, what do you think about that?
I think it could be quite shrewd by Chelsea, actually.
I think
in terms of hiring him, I think the decision to sack Thomas Tuchel days after backing him with nearly like 300 million quid, with players that for his system is really wild. But you could argue, what do they play? 5 at the back. Potter plays 5 at the back.
He can pick up the reins.
He can't turn it down. I'm glad for him to get a shot at a top 4 club, because we've been saying so often, haven't we? Like, he's a really good coach and he's done a really good job.
Yeah,
and they play really good football. It's not a long-term thing. I spoke to a mate of mine who's a Chelsea fan. He was like, yeah, but the LA Dodgers, apparently it is about a long-term project, because the LA Dodgers, they've had a coach there for 7 years. And I went, but that's baseball. You know, you don't have top 4. You know, you don't have the top 4 or anything like that. And make no mistake, if they don't get top 4, he'll be gone.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's why I was like, there's pros and cons in it. For him personally, it's finally a chance for him. There's a big job there.
Yeah.
You know, European champions 18 months ago, got some top talent, got some other players that look a bit imbalanced, but with his methods and his coaching, there's definitely a good base for him there. It's a bit weird because it's just been a transfer window of a bunch of signings that aren't his, including Cucurella, who we just sold there actually, which is interesting. But there's some young. They've invested heavily in young players, haven't they? Chelsea. Fofana's another young defender. What you think would be perfect for Potter. You look at Cucurella, who's just worked under him. Hopefully, they left in good terms, so that's a nice player there. You got Conor Gallagher there. You got Baroja. You got a lot of players there that can.
Do they buy in though? This is my thing. Remember how often have we heard this when it comes to like United? I'm not saying Graham Potter's the same as Ralph Rangnick, because it's a ridiculous comparison to make. But when you get those pundits that go, "But what's he ever won?
Yeah, what's he won?
What's he won? And what are those players going to buy in? Are those players going to buy into this, that, and the other?"
Results, mate. Results. If he gets off to a decent start and they start winning football matches and get their confidence back, they'll buy in. Do you know what I mean?
And I think he's a really good coach.
And he is a really good coach.
I feel like he will do a good job at Chelsea.
Yeah, I just worry about the ruthlessness and that of Chelsea. Of if it goes wrong, if he doesn't get the trophies that maybe his performances deserve or whatever, how ruthless will this regime be? They've just proved that they're ruthless with Tuchel, but the jury was out on him. He got saved by the fact that Roman Abramovich stuff was even going on, because he was on thin ice, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he'd had enough money and then just spent a lot of money and still looked worse. So look, I get it. And to be fair, look, Graham Potter, would he ruin his reputation by going Chelsea if it doesn't work? No, it's his first big job. So
get another
job.
Afterwards.
And you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen this season? Maybe Brendan Rodgers is going to get sacked. Bit of a sideways move to go from Brighton to Leicester. Ish. If you look at Villa, if it goes wrong for Gerrard, he could get sacked. Potter could get that. If you look at Everton, if that went south, I'm not saying it's going to, but if it went south, Lampard would get sacked. So there's a few things that could happen. But right now, if you're Graham Potter and Chelsea become available, I understand that. I wish him all the best. Yeah, I hope he does well. Well, I don't hope he does well because I want Chelsea to do good, but I like him personally. He's a good coach. But yeah, smash the like on the video, guys. Remember, it's match day. So later on tonight, we will be having the match view. Join Owen, KG, and we have another guest joining the show as well. So welcome them, keep them company. And obviously we'll have reaction from the ground as well. Hopefully a little bit of different stuff as well coming your way. So yeah, we'll see you tonight. Get your predictions in. It's Europa League night. Hopefully they don't start the match view with that Europa League theme tune.
We are.
Right. Okay. Owen's already said it. That's what's happening. So yeah, we'll see you. Actually, we'll see you at the road trip time. Actually, that's when I'll next see you guys. But Owen, we'll see you at the match view. Take care, guys. Peace.